Okay, and we're back after what's been probably a fairly long break in terms of having a look at this track. I have to be honest, I was, getting a little sick of listening to it every day. But so we're going to come back to it with some fresh ears. And just for this first session, I'm probably going to be here for about half an hour. I'm just going to organise things, I think, a little bit so that I'm familiar with them. And next time I come back to it, I'm in a place where I can probably finish the bones of an arrangement and then just get the thing polished off and finished and chalked up as another track done. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm probably, I'm going to look at, in terms of what features of Studio One I'm going to use this, I'm not sure what this is called, in terms of the track organizer, where you can sort of create, you can sort of, it's almost like a preset setting for how your arrangement area looks, and this applies to both the arranging section up here and also the console, which is here. You've got the same settings, so you can sort of you can focus in and you're not distracted by all the other things that are probably happening in the track. So I guess for the next 5 minutes I'm just gonna look at what I've got. I'll try and apply some consistent naming to it, and colours and things like that. So similar instruments, have similar colours and names, and make sure the instruments are named correctly, that type of thing. And the other thing that I'm going to talk to is over the course of working on this track, just in trying to keep the interface or the work area pretty clean, I've been dragging a lot of the MIDI sections that I've sort of worked on that didn't fit, and I've been putting them in the what do we call this, in the file navigate. So I've got all these MIDI clips, and to be honest, I don't even know what's there. But one thing I have tended to do, and it sort of hasn't really worked for me, is I create one bit, I make a change to it, and then I move it off to the left or the right, and it's sort of out of view. And then when it comes to arranging it, these things aren't named properly. You don't know what a certain clip was, and you don't know where it fits in. So there's a feature in Studio One where I can basically, I've got like a bass line here, for example, and this is just that 1-7-4-6 note over, 4 bars or something, 49 to 57. So it's, so if we look at this, so we've got, which is like a C, a B flat, an A flat, a C, B flat, an F, and then an A flat. So 1-7-4-6. Now, another section that I might have might just be something that's a bit straighter, like just the tonic. So instead of having these on the same track, what I realised is, and it might, I think, suit my workflow a little bit better, and sort of make sure that all these different parts are visible when you're trying to arrange things, is to basically, I've got a bass, this track's called bass, it's using an instrument called bass. I can basically just duplicate the track, okay, and I can just move this section here. And so what that means now, I don't even know, if I was to play them both, it effectively so if I mute this one, So if I go into the console now, we've got 2 tracks in the arranger, but only 1 track in the console. I mean, this might sound pretty fundamental, but I think in terms of, how I can maybe make some progress is it's just to have all of these things visible. So what will I call this? I'll just call it, I don't know, bass. It's called bass 2 basically. So we've got bass 1 and bass 2. Now if I mute this one and solo this one, yeah, so I mean when you're arranging, I think one way that you would you do that is just to have all of these tracks duplicated. I mean, I guess you're adding a lot of height rather than width to how you work in the arranger, but ultimately you don't want these playing at the same time, but you can then sort of sculpt the track. You sort of start off with all of these tracks playing all the time, and then you basically just mute different ones. So if I was looking at this, I'll just call this bass 2. I'll just call it bassline 2. I'll call this bassline 1. Let's call it 1746. We know what that means. All right, so yeah, so we're going to mute. So we're going to mute that. So let's just go to all of our tracks. And okay, so yeah, we'll look at the different parts. So here, for example, we've got melody 1 with mutes melody 1. So we will duplicate this track. What does this have on it? It's got nothing. Let's see what else. Okay, so we'll just delete this. What's this one? This is an audio track, so maybe there were some bounced sections here at some point. Actually this is where I need to be careful. Is that the scratch pad? The scratch pad has things on there. That's okay. Okay. That's okay. So let's we go up here. Okay, so we've got a sustained bass pad. That's all fine. So this is all these sections. I think the drums, I don't think there's nothing of note there. So I think, yeah, with the drums we can do exactly the same thing. We can organize we can drag MIDI clips out of Maschine. Okay, so here's another variation that we've created, and we'll call it the breakbeat bass. So I'll duplicate the track. I'll just call it break. So what will I call this? Maybe just using numbers is easier. So we've got bass 3. Okay, so I've got bass, pre, bass. These are audios, so these are probably just move that. So melody. Okay. So the mic. Hello, that's better. So here we've got melody with mutes, which if we play, and this one is a bit different. So we'll duplicate, we'll remove this. Okay, so we're going to duplicate this track. Poly 1, don't know what this is. It's a bit loud. Okay, so this is more of a, I'll just call this Moog bass. This is a 16, is it 16? Okay. It's obviously a really sort of aggressive side chain happening on that, I think. So let's have a think. With the bass bus is an alpha tool, so if I Okay. Another comment I'm going to make. I mean, I've got a lot of bits here, and I think we're going to have to make a lot of changes because, I mean, when I first started making this track, it was sort of trying to give it a bit of an outright. I mean, it feels strange. I didn't really have any ideas, but the sounds that the music I'm interested in making is kind of a bit like that sort of synthwave outrun style, which is sort of, and this sounds a bit more synth poppy maybe. So in the outrun style, I guess they're sort of using, just basic tune, repeating melodies that use maybe one, 2 or 3 notes, just to sort of give it that fast-paced feel. And here I've sort of got some, syncopated rhythms, which are a bit, almost have some type of laid-back groove to them, all, and they just don't fit. I think the notes probably fit in terms of the harmonies they create, but they don't really fit in terms of the the energy you're trying to sort of manufacture in the track. So I think if and I know I'm going to leave myself open to getting bogged down trying to create the sound, but I'm just sort of stating that so I can maybe hopefully follow through and I guess get better at making music and making music that I'm trying to make. So where were we? So we're organising these tracks. So we've got melody 1, melody 2. We've got poly here. We've got a few variations on the poly, so we'll just duplicate this track and whatever this is. So okay, so we've got a side chain. Where are these side chains coming from? So we've got the bass bus with the side chain. Turn that off. Okay, what else have we got there? That's it. Alright, so we've got some chords up thing here. So what is this? This is chords up. Okay. This is 7 up. sidetracked, but what chords are these? This is a 1, 7, 4. No, this is a so that's interesting. We might create a duplicate of this because I have a feeling we might want to shrink this down because this is obviously 16 bars rather than the, yeah. So if we look at our bass, we sort of, what happens if we compress this? Hang on, Control Z, Control D. That's a half decent up. What do we got here? This is let's bring all these bits over. Okay, so here we are. So if I go to what? Okay, so what we're going to do with this, so we're going to output the MIDI. So we're going to record the MIDI from this thing here. So we're going to record that and we're going to play this. So alright, so that's done. It's a bit weird. Okay. Okay, whatever. So we'll call this, what do we call that? We'll just call it B melody 1. Oh, well, we'll just call it stabs. Stabs. That's what it is, kind of just stabs. Alright, I might have to close out of this. Alright, so anyway, that's, we'll call this stabs then. I need to make a note. Say remove scale settings. I think complete control is, I think, configured behind the scenes to play, I guess, the first and the fifth at the same time, so that could cause some problems, so I'll just call this stabs. Oops. Alright, then what do we got here? That sounds the same. What if we unmute these? Okay. Alright, so we'll duplicate, because we've got two variations on that one. We'll duplicate the track. Leave no up. We'll say with mutes. So we've got that up playing, we'll mute that now. It's playing a bit. So it gets a bit, goes a bit low, I think. How does it, let's get some beats in there. do probably want to bring that down. And we'll just put a G on that. Okay, just leave that. Okay, so with the choir, what do we have here? Alright. The MIDI output there. Alright. Alright, we're done, I think, for now. That's the 32 minutes I said I would do. When we come back, we're going to have to work out what's happening with these complete plugins. For some reason, they're not showing up. See what I mean here? It's saying no instrument loaded. They are loaded though, so maybe there's an update that's stuffed that up. And then we'll just add some more height to this arrangement by taking the variations that are sitting around all over the place, and then beyond that we're going to have to maybe review some of the MIDI clips that are sitting in the file system over here on the right and see if any of those are appropriate. And then the idea is, I think what I'm going to do is I'll just duplicate all of these unique clips across the length of the song, and then we'll just chip away, and we'll I don't know, we'll just start at the beginning, create something that sounds interesting, and then just create variations. And if we need to add new material, we'll do that. We'll get then the basic structure in place, with the basic elements in place, and then we'll add some interest by, I guess, automating things and, just mixing things, so that, different instruments stand out in different sections. And so then, and then we'll have a finished track. So I think that will hopefully, ideally, will happen in the next, 2 hours, that I spend on this track. Well, that's the idea, at least, anyway. Okay, that's a wrap.